What's up, everybody? My name is Isaac Huss, and today I'm going to talk about how to let a woman know you're serious about her and your relationship. Recently, a girlfriend of mine, that is a friend who's a girl, told me about her boyfriend, that is the man that she's been dating, who had recently bought a house. And that raised at least one eyebrow of mine because, let's be real, buying a house is a big decision. They've been dating for over 9 months now, so I wanted to know what that meant for them and their relationship. Because, let's be real, you don't just go buying a house without consulting someone that you're serious with. Because, let's be real, if a woman I was dating did something like that, I'd have a hard time thinking that she wasn't trying to send precisely the message that she did not see a future with me, at least not anytime soon. That said, I'm not here to tell you what not to do. Instead, here are 6 ways that you can tell a woman that you are serious about her and your relationship, in addition to consulting her on big decisions, like buying a house. Number 1, make meaningful introductions. Perhaps you're familiar with the age-old debate on when you should be meeting the parents. It's become such a big thing that some people seem to bend over backwards just to avoid meeting the most important people in your girlfriend or boyfriend's life, and vice versa. And that can sometimes just feel a little silly. So, if I'm serious about a woman, I make a point to make sure that she meets the most important people in my life. That doesn't necessarily mean that I plan an intimate dinner party with her and them, and we're just sitting across from each other, asking each other penetrating questions and recording every possible response to every little subtlety of the evening. But what it does mean is I want her to meet the guys that I hang with. I want to know if she can hang with them. I want to know what they think of her, and I want to know what she thinks of them. I want her to put faces to the names of the people that I'm inevitably going to be talking about. But yeah, I want to know her opinions on them, and to really ultimately see how well they mesh with the people already in my life. It also might mean that I try to figure out some sort of even real low-pressure way for somebody to meet my siblings. Because I don't know about you, but my siblings seem to have a knack for not only just character evaluation, but to really have a sense of, is somebody good for me or not? But yeah, it will inevitably mean that she meets my parents. So if I'm serious about her, I'm going to make time intentionally for them to meet each other, for them to spend significant time with each other. In casual ways, informal ways. Important family gatherings, casual meetups, and anything in between. Number 2, invite her into my life. Speaking of immediate family, once upon a time, I was dating a woman for about a month and a half, and it was my brother's birthday coming up. And we were all going to meet at the local Famous Dave's barbecue shack for a casual dinner to celebrate. So I says to my brother, hey, I was thinking about inviting my girlfriend along. And he says, and I quote, wow, that's a bold move. And, maybe it was. It frankly was my first relationship ever. I'd never invited a girl to meet my family before. And yeah, it felt like a good opportunity for her to see what my life is like, specifically with these important people in my life. We joke about it now, and sure, it took a little bit of the spotlight off the birthday boy. But to me, it felt like a natural way for her to be brought into my life, a big part of my life. And in particular, how we celebrate things, big and small, is a big way of how we live, and that's important to bring somebody who you're serious with into those moments. Of course, there's a flip side to all that, and that's the not so happy moments in our lives. Sharing what's on my mind, what's bothering me, about work, about my friendships, even about my family, even about my relationship with this woman. All of those things are really important once you are serious with a woman, that you can share those things that are on your mind and talk about important subjects together. And as much as I'm a fan of the fun, adventurous, romantic dates, most of life will be fairly normal, maybe even boring. And frankly, I want to know what it's like to live normal life with a woman. And if all goes well, even those boring, normal parts of life will be even just a little bit better if all goes well. When I'm serious about a woman, I want to know that she's cool with what I consider to be normal, everyday life. And if all goes well, Even those boring day-to-day moments are maybe just a little bit better when she's a part of them. Number 3, ask big questions. So I'm a philosophy major, and that means I'm always asking big questions on a day-to-day basis. I can hardly help myself. In fact, on first dates, I find myself intentionally resisting the urge to ask big philosophical questions of women, if only not to freak them out, at least right away. Of course, there is a time and a place for everything, and, in my opinion, asking meaningful questions intentionally with a woman you're interested in, it's about as important as it gets. Dr. John Burry, my psychology professor in college, recommends a book called If Questions for the Soul. The idea is that you as a couple would tackle some of these questions, some of them whimsical, some of them more serious, some of them outlandish. But the idea is that you are starting a conversation even as much as you're answering them specifically. Through these conversations, though, you find out how you view the world, how you answer or tackle complex questions, how you might together tackle a situation in your future together. Number 4, avoid ambiguity. So I was playing tennis with my buddy Al way back when, and he suggests that I have the talk with this mutual friend of ours that I was seeing at the time. I never dated anybody before, and it was kind of exhilarating to ask a woman to be my girlfriend for the first time. And we ended up dating 45 days together after that, and that was pretty much it. My next girlfriend, we never really had a true DTR conversation, at least until I asked her to marry me, and then when we decided to break it off. The next time I did sense some sort of ambiguity in a relationship, I asked a woman flirtatiously, "Hey, when can I call you my girlfriend?" And that one didn't go over as well. I didn't mean it as tell me exactly where this is going, but it was obvious enough, even in that joking sense, that she wasn't ready for that. It wasn't clear when she would be. And eventually that was the first sign that, it probably wasn't going to go anyplace, and it might be good for me to just move on. But suffice it to say, if I like a woman and I want it to move forward, I don't want her wondering what my intentions are. Number 5, disagree. One time my buddy proudly declared that he and his fiancée had never had a fight before. Now, maybe it was because I was in a particularly drama-filled relationship of my own at the time, but I hardly found that possible, and I really didn't envy where he was coming from. Sure, it would be nice to love a woman and never have a heated argument, and it would certainly be preferable if all of your disagreements were of the whimsical, flirty kind. But I actually think there's something really good about frank disagreement in a relationship. In fact, I might even be convinced that that's where the real rubber hits the road. Let's be honest, especially if you've been out of college for a little while, you've been living as an adult in the real world, you have your own likes and dislikes, hopes and dreams, even just personal preferences, and you are expecting those to match up perfectly with a total stranger without any sort of heated disagreement? I don't know how realistic that is. In fact, I find it a really good sign in a relationship if I feel free to air my disagreements with her, knowing that she's mature enough and invested enough that we'll talk it out and find a real solution so that we can move forward together. In fact, it might be important enough that if I'm serious about a woman, I might even seek out ways to share how I disagree with her, so that in these lower pressure situations, we can flex those muscles, so to speak, and that can pay dividends down the road when the stakes are higher, like say in marriage. Number 6, talk about a future together. Speaking of marriage, if I really like a woman, I'm thinking about marrying her. And no, that doesn't mean that I'll be carrying around an engagement ring wherever we go, just waiting for the perfect opportunity to propose a la Andy Bernard. But I'll be honest, if I can't see myself even potentially marrying a woman, I don't find myself dating her very long. I'm not ashamed to say that marriage is the goal, so I'm really not interested in dating someone who isn't on board with that. So if I'm serious about a woman, I inevitably want to know, sooner rather than later, if she wants to get married someday to somebody, if she wants to have children, how soon she wants to do those things. And ultimately, I want to know, sooner rather than later, if we would make a good match for the rest of our lives. Alright, that's all I got for today. But what'd you think? Gentlemen, did I get that right? Ladies, does that vie with your experience? I'd love to hear how you agree or disagree, and that's what that comment section below is for. But if you did like what you heard, I'd love to have you hit that like button, subscribe to our future videos so you won't miss any. You can even hit that bell up there to be notified when a new video comes out. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing y'all very soon.